In the morning when I'm driving, I really come alive when I listen to my Ronnie, I listen to my Ronnie Q. They are rare and they are few who can compare with Ronnie Q. So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air, it's time for Ronnie Q. They are rare and they are few who can compare with Ronnie Q. So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air, it's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie. In the morning while I'm driving, Ronnie, I really come alive when it's time for Ronnie Q. I listen to my Ronnie, Ronnie. I listen to my Ronnie. It's time for Ronnie Q. Take a seat and go meet Ronnie. Sweet, 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 sweet Ronnie. No day complete without my Ronnie. She can't be beat. Sweet, sweet Ronnie.
Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you guys hit the like on your way in. I really would appreciate that. As always, my goal is to see if there's something new that I can spring on you today. So if you want to help me fulfill my goals, if you hear something new that you can use preferably, I mean, we always just don't want to waste our time. Hit the goals button, because those are my goals for being here. I mean, we all have to have a reason to be here. Okay. Or not. Okay. So, let me say hello to Very Carey, Grand Rising Brit Girl Haley, if you're still here. And I also want to say hello to Queen Diva, Grand Rising Queen Diva. It is always good to see you. So, I am kind of perplexed about something that is going on. There's not a lot of talk about it, but thank goodness there is one person who talks about it. So we're going to have to check out this person. So did you guys know? I think I told you about, wait a minute. I'm sure I told you about the new Department of, what is his Department of? Pete Sedgwick, the Department of Defense. He is now saying that he does not want to recruit Black officers by way of not recruiting Black officers. They are avoiding places where they could, in fact, get the best of the best in Black officers, but he decided that he's not doing that. Oh, my cat is still dancing. Excuse me. How rude. Okay. Excuse me. Hey, y'all. Hey. Grand Rising, the real K Fit. Queen Diva again, and my mod, Very Carry. Very Carry, if you see anything, please snap them up, uh, quickly if you can, or if you need a hand, let me know, because unfortunately, uh, you may need a hand based on my experience since my content has changed. So if you need a hand, please let me know, and I will hopefully try to find someone uh, as the show goes on, because I yes, I realize, yeah, and Max Boogie, Grand Rising, girl, that video was something, something, something. Max Boogie, thanks for sharing. Oh, Max always keeps me laughing. Uh, Grand Rising, Max. If you guys hit the like button on your way in, I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, so what I wanted to talk to you about, there are like several more things that 45 and 47's administration, all sorts of people are coming this side due to the content. Uh, Weirdos, angry weirdos. Hey, beans and cornbread. It is so good. Sexy cornbread, should I say? Excuse me. Let me. Oh, God, look at that picture. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Sexy cornbread, you're going to have to do something about that giggle. Look, I don't want you mad at me. Do not hit the link being mad at me. But I have been hearing that giggle, and I am just like, make it stop. Please make it stop. It's good to see you, beans and cornbread. Help Miss Ronnie meet her goals. Goals, goals, goals. Y'all know that comes from QB. Where QB been? I haven't seen any notifications from QB. Uh, Thank you, Max. I greatly appreciate it. Now, this is what I want to tell you about, because this is some overt type of stuff that's going on, and I really don't like it. You know, not for nothing. Some Black men, they go into the service, and some make a career out of it, and some advance in it. And for our generals to be stripped of their titles and of their positions is I think it's under uh, I think it's under observed, and hasn't been talked about in the context of these generals losing their positions to people who are less experienced, uh, have less stars than them. The Joint Chief of Staff, he lost his position, and what was the other one? The other four-star general, a Black guy, Joint Chiefs of Staff, and oh, I forgot the second one. Listen, and I want to talk about it, and I can't remember his position. But my my point is, I think it's a concerted effort, and I just want to bring your attention to it. So all of my links are in the description box. So let's see the the newest thing that they are trying to do to sideline black men becoming black men and women. We already know they don't. Hegseth doesn't think that women should be in combat. That, and how do we know? He wrote it in his book. That's how we know. But he, pussyfooted around it in his confirmation hearings. But Jody Ernst, who is a career military person until she decided to make her second career in Congress, kowtowing to 45, 47. She let him in anyway, and questioning him, all addicted, and like she was so bothered that he had written that, well, women, we have a place in the military, trying to explain herself to someone who is beneath her rank. But she she went on and approved him for this job that he is not, in my opinion, qualified for. So this is the latest thing coming out of this military that wants to purge the military of your black bodies. So let me share this with you. And first of all, I keep on saying what I really wanted to note. A lot of black people go into the military. I have heard of people escaping their environment who grown up in rural areas and escaping their environment who have grown up in intercity areas who are trying to escape their environment, and they see the military as a place where they can strive in regular life with the education or whatever it is they bring, and they want to be something different than what they were born, than the station that they were born in. And some people choose many different outlets. Some people may choose a trade career. Some people choose the military. Some people choose colleges. So with that being understood, there are some great things that people can attain by going to the military. There are some great things that if they, especially if it's not wartime, there are some great things they can attain if they make a career out of the military. So it's not for everyone, but you always hear about the disenfranchised vet, the vet who is out of the military and they're homeless. But the people who I know several people who have made the military their career, and the closest person that I know who made the military their career, they retired at 20 years in the military, and they have just retired from their job after the military. And after they retired from the military, they were able to get that military loan to get them a house built from the ground up, a very, very nice house from the ground up, and then go work a secondary career. And now they have two retirements coming towards them. So it's not always all bad. There are some things that you can do, and and if we whittle down into some vets who have come up on hard times, they're just a microcosm of America. They're just a microcosm of America. I'm not saying all of them have had hard times because of bad decisions they have made, but you have to understand that it takes all types of people to make up this world, and everyone are not going to make sound decisions. But also on top of our decisions that we make, we have to understand that life throw people different types of situations, and some people can handle certain situations better than others. So we have to take everything into accord. But this is what I want to talk about right here. Donald Trump's moves to purge Black Marines from the Marine Corps. Okay, so enough said. Okay, I think I want to. Okay, let's hear what I found.
Enlisted guy, not an officer. So I was in boot camp with a lot of Black Marines who had trouble with razor bumps or shave bumps. I don't know what they called them. When you have curly hair and you shave, sometimes the hair goes up inside and you have an ingrown hair there. And some people are afflicted because of genetics to have it even worse. And so in boot camp, this isn't for.
Okay, so we are familiar with our curly hair. We are familiar with people having to shave. He started off saying that when he was in boot camp, the people used to put a cream. Remember, oh my God, my stepfather used to use that magic shave, and that shit would stink to high heaven. And then it was like a depilatory, and it would melt the hair. It's a wonder that shit didn't melt the face. And then they could take the hair off with a butter knife. I heard that it doesn't smell as bad anymore. So you will be shocked to find out that Pete Hedgewith has decided that if a soldier has a no shave order, which means I know a lot of guys who have problems with ingrown hair use those little shavers that get you real close, but they don't razor shave. So I don't see the point in having to razor shave. But obviously there's a something that's going on in the military that Pete Hedgewith has said that if you have a problem where you can't razor shave your skin all the way down, they're going to give you some time to correct that. And if you can't get that corrected, and with the understanding, let's be clear, he does have the understanding that it happens mostly in Black people. He's aware. Okay, so let me let you hear all of the details.
Black men who are watching this, because this is for white people who don't know, or if you weren't in boot camp, but there's like a cream that they put on. It's like Nair that kind of burns the hair off, so you don't have to shave it, and so you have less of a problem with it. Well, right now, the Republican Party, the most organized and effective white supremacy organization on the planet, the Republican Party, Donald Trump, the whole DEI nonsense, they're so against diversity in our world that they are going to be kicking out Marines, Black Marines, who suffer from this genetic condition and have a hard time shaving. I've been talking about, look, they're deleting tens of thousands of images in databases celebrating the diversity in the military. Just pictures of Black folks doing their jobs, of women doing their jobs, of gay and lesbian and transgender soldiers just doing their jobs. They're deleting any trace of it because they want to erase the contributions of individuals who aren't straight white men. It's the way it is. Because you know what I can tell you? You know what they're not deleting? Pictures of straight white men, right? I didn't think that in the Trump administration, I would be reading from military.com, which is the newspaper that deals with military issues. These are, a lot of these people are veterans, but this is the newspaper that covers military issues, military news. Here we are, though.
Introducing Create Studio, the world's only AI-powered 3D character.
Rachel, you are so right. Now, Wait a minute, I've started it. You are so right, Rachel. Jesse tells it like it is. And if you guys have not gone over to Jesse's page, you may want to go over to his page. I really like him. I think he is very fair, very balanced, and check out a couple of his videos. You may want to like and subscribe to his channel if you're interested in being informed about a variety of topics, mostly political, but he'll keep you abreast on some things you didn't know.
Marines with skin condition affecting mostly black men could now be booted under new policy, meaning kicked out of the military. A new Marine Corps policy says troops with a genetic skin condition that can cause pain and scarring from shaving and mainly affects black men, can be separated if the health issue persists. The quote interim guidance issued Thursday gives military healthcare providers 90 days to reevaluate Marines diagnosed with pseudofolliculitis barbae, I think is how you say that. Pseudofolliculitis barbae, or
Yes, that's how you say that, pseudofolliculitis. We learned that from Heidi and in her J. Wilson pseudofolliculitis hot dog size lumps on the back of his head. That's how, when he said that, I was like, oh my God, Heidi, hush your mouth. But let's continue. Hush your mouth, but keep on talking. Let's continue.
Or PFB. PFB, that's way easier. Or PFB. If they don't recover based on a 4-phase treatment program outlined in the message, have to remain on a shaving waiver for more than a year, and a commander deems it fit. The Corps can administratively separate them due to incompatibility with service, according to the message. The directive marks a reversal from a previous Marine Corps policy issued in 2022 that prohibited the service from administratively separating Marines solely based on the condition, which is caused when curled hairs grow back into the skin, resulting in inflammation. It also comes at the same time Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered a military-wide review of standards specifically focused on issues such as shaving, waivers, and body fat. Quote, in cases where a medical condition prevents a Marine from meeting required standards for an extended period exceeding 1 year, administrative separation may be considered if it affects long-term service compatibility. Major Jacoby Getty, a spokesperson for the Corps Manpower and Reserve Affairs, said in an emailed statement Friday when asked why Marines are no longer exempt from separation due to PFB. Quote, he says, however, every effort will be made to support Marines through treatment and recovery before such decisions are considered. Getty emphasized that the new guidance is meant to imbue consistency across medical exemptions and that the service remains fully committed to supporting Marines with PFB. It's not being applied consistently when this
So how can it be applied consistently? It's just they're just trying to make consistency when they use medical exemptions. So how can it be being looked at as consistency with the knowledge of the whole premise of this medical what am I trying to say? Medical waiver is because of the way Black men's hair grow. What good is it going to do them to give a Black man whose hair is curls tightly? What good is it going to give them a year? It's nothing that they can correct themselves. Is it? I don't know there to be a cure for this. I don't know if they can exfoliate enough. I don't know. I know that exfoliation and getting the dead skin off your body can help with that. I don't know if there's any laser treatment for that. So they're saying they'll give you a year. and they'll be patient with whatever treatment they're talking about. But see, the whole problem is that there is a solution, but you will not accept the actual solution. You know, uh, you have to be as you have. That's part of you not being as good as your predecessor, the white men who don't have that problem, or Asian men, or Hispanic men who don't have that problem.
This is an affliction that I think they say like 60% of black guys have. Oh, it says black service members make up about 15 to 16% of the active duty force. They said, but 66% of shaving waivers holders are black.
Okay, so they are aware that this is a big problem with only black men, and they have such a small percentage of black men, and they are targeting them. They said they have 15 or 16% of black men in the Marines, and of those 60%, 66% of them have this problem. So let's aim at, we almost have eradicated them all. And let's get rid, let's do our best to keep America, make America white again. We have, we're already pretending like they're not in the service by taking pictures down, and we're just pursing it under, we're doing what the president want, and we're not doing it because this is what we want to do. They took down all the recognitions, pictures of the Tuskegee Airmen, and you heard him say how they're changing out any pictures that they have up in public spaces and recruitment material to recruit people in the services. They're taking out all black people. There was an instance where, and this is why they think that they actually have an algorithm to try to, as they say, weed out wokeness and weed out DEI. They think they have an algorithm because one particular picture was taken down, and it was taken down of a female. I think she was in the Air Force, and her name, I forget her first name, but her last name was Gay, and her picture was taken down, and they couldn't explain why the picture was taken down, and then they was trying to figure it out, and they looked up who she was, and her last name was Gay. So they think they're trying to weed out the gayness in the military, and that any gayness, any representation of anything that may make you think about gayness. So they took her picture down, and they had it up because I can't remember what she did. I just remember about they definitely had her picture up with her name, and she was standing by her plane. So this is what the military has time for. So if you want to hear the rest of the story, he just give you. Let me see a little.
This is to target black Marines. This is to target black Americans. This is to target people who want to serve their nation. It's not white people that are largely going to be impacted by this or even minorly impacted by this. It's black folks. That's why they're deleting the contributions of black heroes who got the Medal of Honor after being wounded. High-ranking individuals that they replaced the link on the website with DEI medals. Just because he was black and got a Medal of Honor, it was a DEI medal, even though he was wounded in combat multiple times. This is white supremacy. This is wanting America to be a white ethnos.
Now, you mean to tell me, now I didn't even hear this part. You mean to tell me that they have replaced the heading of Black People's Medal and just call them DEI medals of valor or whatever the medal is about? It has a separate category. See, that's segregation. They're segregating even the listings of medals that Black people get. And understand that he's a former Marine himself who reads this official paper that comes out for enlisted people. So this must be where he's getting this from. I you know, I'm assuming on that part, but he prefaced his experience and what he got this story from. So this story came out of the official military paper. What was the name of it? He actually said the name of the paper early on in here. Uh, uh, it's in here. So check this story out. Military Times, I think he called it, something of that effect. But it's a actual military paper. Let me see. It looks like. Oh, wait a minute. It's a little more. I want you guys to hear this memo.
Team host who happened to be in the military.
Whoops. Hold on. Let me get beyond this commercial. I just want all the fact. Not a memo. It's a actual article.
Dermatologist who spoke on the condition of anonymity as they were not authorized to speak to the press told military.com on Friday that the Marine Corps' new policy could have discriminatory effects against Black service members who disproportionately have this condition compared to their peers and often require a shaving exemption to avoid making it worse. Look,
Okay, so we see that this is in military.com. So what do you guys think about that? You guys, if you want to finish the rest of it, please go over and hit that link. It's under the heading of Your White World in my description box. So I think I heard somebody saying, thanks for your service. And I think that was to beans and cornbread. And I'm gonna drop this link in the chat for you as well. This is the first story about Donald Trump ordered military to stop recruiting Black people. I'm gonna drop this link in the chat for you. This is also Grand Rising, Bernice. This is also hold on. There's that link to that story. I've already played that for you here. Jesse Dollemore, Dollemore. He is also on top of that story as well. So let me see what you guys think of that. They want the military to look like a. It appears so. What do they call them? Brown booted thugs. Oh my goodness. Okay. They are also stuck in the Ilona Gay. Yes, the plane that dropped the. Oh wow! I knew that she did something, so I heard of the story. I saw her standing by the plane, but so they struck. They took her picture down, and she was the pilot that was the hero of her time who dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. Thank you, Miss Queenie. A click in a view? I didn't see a click in a view come in. Grand Rising, a click in a view. Hey, Rachel. Thanks for your service. We have been in service since the Revolutionary War. Yes, we have. Yes, we have. And this is the thanks that we get. Okay, so let me see. So let me see what else I wanted to talk about. So you guys know that I've been talking about the muskrat, and they are communicating via a app that is the only reason that the app is distinctive is because it automatically and permanently deletes your communications. So let me remind you of this. It is in my description box. And I'll remind you guys of this. And I think I was supposed to play this for someone last week, but I forgot to play it. If not, it's just always refreshing to see this old, I didn't even know who he was until I saw him. It is always refreshing to see this exchange. Mr. Larson, I don't know I don't know if he's a congressman or a senator. I'm assuming that he's a senator.
They're honest and caring people. And
wait a minute. But this is the Oversight Committee for DOGE, so he's a congressman. Okay.
that's why I do not understand why you would relegate this committee to no longer being of significance and resort to saying you will do whatever Elon Musk and Donald Trump tell you to do. Where's the independence of the committee? Where's the legislature? We're an equal branch of government. And you start off with a blather, and yet look at the empty seats here. Where's Elon Musk? I'm sure he's a genius and is a very credible person because of the wealth he's accumulated. But that does not put him above the law or the responsibility to come before this committee in this Congress. If he's so great, if these plans and all the fraud and abuse that he found are so evident, why isn't he here explaining it? You know why. Because he's out to privatize Social Security. He's been on television the last couple of days talking exactly about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, and what he intends to do. Privatize it. The American people, some of them may have been born at night, but not last night. People are aware of this. Every single one of your districts. Now you have someone coming in to privatize a system, something you have longed to do going back to 1982, because Elon Musk thinks that this is the best thing to do. President Trump has called Social Security a scam. Elon Musk, as the chairman, as Mr. Neal said, called it a Ponzi scheme. Ask that of the people in your district. Ask that, Mr. Smith, of the more than 198,000 people in your district who rely on Social Security, and you won't even let the person who's planning to privatize it, who's telling the big lie in front of everyone, bold as he possibly can, saying, this is what we're going to do. The Congress is in our back pocket. We don't even have to come before them and testify because we control the House, we control the Senate, and we control the presidency. And it's the tyranny of the executive. It's why these resolutions were first adopted back in 1789, because the founding fathers knew that the executive branch does not have total authority over the legislature unless you have a willing party that says, no, we're going to do exactly what you tell us to do, Mr. Musk and Mr. President. It doesn't matter to our constituents. It doesn't matter how much money they are not going to receive. We're not even going to tell them the truth about what's going to happen to them. They administer to over 70 million people.
in the nation's #1 anti-poverty program for the elderly and children. Shame! Shame! Can't bring people in front of this body? If he's right, if they're so good, if they're so just, why aren't they here telling the American people about it? They're not, because you know the truth. It's about privatization. I yield back.
That is veteran Democratic Congressman John Larson of Connecticut, just ripping the bark off today about Social Security and what Republicans are really doing here. And indeed, as he was ripping that bark off in Congress, look at what the Washington Post was publishing just down the road. Quote, Social Security facing pressure from DOGE weighs big cuts to phone service. Agency considers ending phone program that is used by millions of elderly and disabled Americans. One gobsmacked Social Security Administration employee told the Post today that this radical change, this radical cut to services that they were moving on in the Trump administration, quote, would be the single largest service disruption in agency history ever.
Okay, so I played you this, a click and a view. I played that hearing the day before. It had happened the day before. This video is 5 days old. And the day before that, they had the DOGE hearing. And the point of the hearing was to find out what DOGE was doing with our personal information that they were accessing. And they wanted information on what were they doing with the Social Security Administration's information. But the Republican congressman wouldn't call and wouldn't let them subpoena anyone from DOGE. So that's why he was upset that the chair was empty. They could have asked directly, but they since the Republican are the majority, they don't have the subpoena power. That's my understanding. So now they wanted to accept after this hearing on the same day. Well, no. They wanted to ask about this, about them cutting phone services, saying that the only way that you can apply was to go online. Old people will go online. People who are not good on computers. This was the only way that they could inquire is online or apply for Social Security online. And I was surprised in the end of this this video right here, because after Congress met, they changed their mind and they said they weren't going to cut the phone service. So they didn't want people to know what they were doing. And when it got out, they were like, "Oh no, we're not going to do that."
Single largest service disruption in Social Security ever. Elon Musk's plan for Social Security was to, quote, end telephone service for claims processing, instead directing elderly and disabled people to the internet and to in-person field offices. Quote, the agency's toll-free number is a mainstay for older customers who do not have online access or who have trouble navigating the internet.
Now, also, they're not even taking appointments. You'll find out in the next story for the in-service field offices. And with the fact that they are firing thousands of their workers and shutting down their field offices, you can imagine that people that live in rural areas who may be elderly, disabled, will have a much harder time going into these field offices. So this was their plan. Let's continue.
About 40% of the claims that get made to Social Security are made over the phone, using this phone line that Elon Musk now wants to kill. 40% of the claims at the agency. And naturally, this move to close the phone line and instead force old people and disabled people to go in person to in-person field offices, naturally that comes as Donald Trump is firing 7,000 people who work at Social Security and closing tons of the aforementioned field offices. President Biden's Social Security Administrator, former Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley, ripped the bark off himself in his comments to the Post on this planned cut. Quote, "It would certainly appear," he said, "that they're trying to break the capacity of the agency to serve its customers. And I suppose if they're trying to dismember the agency, liquidate its assets, sell pieces of it to their billionaire friends to run, they have to discredit the agency in the eyes of its customers, and they do that by breaking its ability to serve." The Post says, quote, "The DOGE-driven proposal to shift all claims processing online and to in-person offices has spurred pushback internally," employees said, and from outside experts, for the same reasons, that it would be likely to imperil millions of Americans' ability to receive their earned benefits. This is what they're doing. This is what's going on. And so this is what happens today. Congressman John Larson, who I just showed you, screams his freaking head off in Congress about it this morning. Screams at them. And then at noon, the Washington Post publishes this horror movie script about their plan, indeed, to rip the guts out of Social Security. Beyond firing everybody, which they're already doing, right? Beyond closing the field offices, they're now making it so that old and disabled people literally cannot call anyone to find out what's going on. But then you know what happened? They caved. They decided not to do it. Don't let anybody tell you that pushback doesn't work. Don't let anybody tell you that yelling and making a fuss doesn't matter, or that journalism doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't always matter, but honestly, it's the only thing that ever does.
Okay, so they caved after that happened, and then they said, "Oh no, we're not going to do that." Why did you think that we were going to do something like that? No, we're not going to do that. Hey, Candy Cane, Grand Rising, what the fuck are the Doge dogs planning to do with the money that we paid into the Social Security program? Do we get a refund? Bullshit. Yes, they will. Trust. No. Beans and cornbread. No, they're after that day. They are not going to do that. Beans and cornbread. Beans and cornbread. Why are you so suspicious? You hear that they came out and they said, "Oh no, we're not doing that." So you have to have faith, beans and cornbread. You have no faith in Musk. It appears to me, beans and cornbread. Look, I cannot call you. I cannot call you by your new name, especially with that picture hanging up. So, I just want you guys to be clear on that's not what's going to happen. Let me see. Why did that do that? Hold on. Let me share screen with you guys. So, this is why we have to really follow these stories so you understand. So that happened last week. I played that for you guys last week. All of these links are in my description box. So let's see. Why does she have this Social Security Administration up here again? Let's see what she was talking about last night. Something else with the Social Security Administration? Let's follow the story. I don't know. Let's see what she's talking about today. The title of the video is "An Effort to Break the Agency. Memo exposes plan to ruin," I assume, Social Security again. Let's see.
An internal Social Security Administration memo sent Thursday last week details proposed changes to the claims process that would debilitate the agency, cause significant processing delays, and prevent many Americans from applying for or receiving benefits. The biggest change contemplated in the memo is to require internet identity proofing for any benefit claims made over the phone. If a Social Security recipient is
internet identity approval. So they understood that if you took the phones away, that it would hamper a lot of people. But then on Thursday of last week, which was the same week where they said that they weren't going to take the phones away, but now they have added a component that you must identify yourself, verify your identity via the internet, or what? Or go into a field office. You get what they did there? Go into a field office with them firing 7,000 and closing down 7,000 workers and closing down a lot of the field offices. So let's continue.
Unable to utilize internet ID proofing, customers will be required to visit a field office to provide in-person identity documentation. Many people served by the Social Security Administration cannot access the internet. Under the new system, this would force these populations to visit an office to have their claims processed. The memo estimates it would require 75,000 to 85,000 in-person visitors per week to Social Security offices to implement this policy. Social Security offices currently do not have the resources to handle an influx of in-person appointments of this size. They're cutting 7,000 staffers. They're shutting dozens of field offices. They're ending in-person services at some offices altogether. And even before those changes take effect, Social Security offices no longer accept walk-ins. And right now, the wait time for an appointment averages over 1 month. Joining us now is Judd Legum. He's writer of the independent newsletter Popular Information. He's the first person to obtain this memo from Social Security. Judd, thanks very much for being with us. Thank you for this reporting.
Oh, well, thanks for having me, Rachel.
This just seems like, I know we've heard of a lot of changes and proposed changes at Social Security that are freaking a lot of people out, people who are recipients of Social Security in particular. This seems so unbelievably impractical to me. It's hard for me to believe that this is a real prospect that's still on the table. Do you think that it is?
Yes, I know that it is based on the people that I'm talking to on Social Security. This is something that's moving through Social Security very aggressively. And the people who are concerned about this memo, who brought it to light, believe that it is an effort to break the agency. And this is a huge influx of people to these offices that are already under strain, that are now getting, as you.
The other attempt was an attempt to break the agency. So this is a new attempt to break the agency. And God, I wish there has already been a man who has reported that he did not receive his Social Security check. Oh my God. I wish I could remember what link I saved that under. Oh my God. I'll find it and I'll share it with you guys tomorrow. I don't want to look for it now. I saved the link and it's in my it's bookmarked. The gentleman said that his Medicare sent him a bill saying that he had to pay out of pocket because they were unable to, Social Security usually pay their, he said Social Security usually pay their medical insurance, but for March, everything went fine in February, he said. But in March, they were unable to get the payment from Social Security for some reason. So he did not get any notification from Social Security. He got it from his Medicare plan. So he called Social Security and they said that it was something they could easily fix over the phone. They said he waited 2.5 hours to speak to a human being. And then he said that they found that it was something easily fixed over this phone because they had him showing up as he was born in Germany. He was born in Germany because he was born in Germany as his father was actively serving in the military in Germany when he was born. So what happened is the infuriate the shit that pisses me off, the infuriating part of what happened is that they actually went into his account, his bank account. And see, that's the part. And they always try to say that they have view only options. They actually went into his bank account, and they took his March payment back out of his bank account, his Social Security payment. They went into his bank account and took the money out. So you mean to tell me the DOGE is giving the ability to not notify you that your Social Security has been interrupted, and if they have already paid you, they have the ability to go into your bank account and take the money out? That's the yeah. So you're right, beans and cornbread. I don't believe anything either. I just knew this other story was coming up, and that they had backed off the phone service, but now they're making you verify via computer or go into a field office. Can you imagine? The link is pinned. The link is pinned, beans and cornbread. Isn't the link pinned? I think I pinned the link. Let me see. Okay. Beans and cornbread.
Hey.
Hey, Beans. Ooh,
Good morning.
I miss you too.
Hey, y'all. You know what? I know them motherfuckers are connected. I can prove it.
How?
I'm going to tell you how connected they are. They so connected, they grab your ass on the state level. I owed the state of California, I think it was something like $11,000 or $12,000. And so every year we file taxes, and I always owe. So I'm like, okay, I expect that. Well, I didn't pay when they wanted me to pay, and they took the money from my sister. Betty, how you don't know who we are? They took it from my sister.
Wow.
Don't tell me you don't know who we are. They know exactly who we are. So stop it. We're not stupid.
And they can definitely get into your account. See, they trying to play you. You should go back to my channel where I played that hearing last week, that DOGE oversight hearing. The Republicans was trying to make it about everything it wasn't about, but them old congressmen, they were on their butt. And they one of the congressmen said that we want to know what happened to the screenshots of this information, and what are you guys doing with this information that you took screenshots of? And now that was the first time I had ever heard that they were in there screenshotting all of America's public information that is in the Social Security. So it was about our privacy, and it was about what are they doing with Social Security.
Yep.
And they wanted to talk about everything but that. Now, I don't know if you saw my show yesterday. Ever since the transition after the election and before the inauguration, DOGE has been communicating with each other on a secretive app. And what this app is known for is an encrypted app, and it deletes all of your communications forever. And they were
that's illegal.
yes, girl.
That is illegal. Oh my God.
I did the story yesterday that a judge, somebody wanted to file a FOIA act on DOGE, and they were unresponsive. And then it finally went to court, and the judge said they have to stop using that app, and they have to submit all of the information based upon the 4 requests that were requested. But look at how much you may have already lost, and
See?
who can even trust them that this whatever they send in is all that they have. If you're moving through an encrypted app that deletes all your transmit, and also I played the video of there was a undercover thing where they wanted to interview with the co-author of Project 2025, and so this guy was going to hook it, and it was videoed. Look at my video yesterday.
Okay.
It was videoed, and it was a British group. So the guy who was going to introduce them to Russ Volt, who is the Office of Budget Management, OBM right now, and even in his confirmation, he would not say that he wouldn't do only what Donald Trump do, even if it was against the law. He said they will review it, and if he feels like if Trump feels like it's okay, that's what we'll do. And then they was like, wait a minute, this is already a law that has been determined by the Supreme Court, and he was just like, I don't care. If it's in the administration interest, that's what we'll review it and see what we'll do. And they confirmed him. He is the co-author of Project 2025. So somebody was trying to meet with him, and then they were sitting down talking to him, and he said that we're not going to put anything in writing. We're not going to write anything down. It would be easy to just send memos out about the things that we're going to do, but we don't want people to be able to access it via FOIA requests. And FOIA, I played it. He said it on tape, and people act like they don't know that this was before the inauguration. So they already have a plan how they're trying to usurp justice.
You know what
and do what they want.
You know, the CCP has this thing where they know all of the ages of everyone in the country. They eliminate, delete the elderly. Anybody's 80 and above, they find some kind of way to get rid of them. That's why their birth rates are so low. It's just so much that goes on. It seems like we're headed towards that, because if you go back and look at when Obama was in office, he had this thing where he was always talking about we call it euthanasia. In the medical field, we call it euthanasia. Anybody who's a certain age, go ahead.
You're talking about the death panels they were talking about when they were trying to get Obamacare through, and the Republicans kept on telling the old people that they're going to have death panels and determine if. Okay, go ahead.
Yes,
yeah, I remember that.
There you
I remember
go.
that.
Yes, anybody who's a certain age will be rendered non-useful to society. Feeders, they gotta go. They just there will be a committee to get rid of them. And they're in China, they're considered to be people who are just sitting on the books, eating the food, sucking up the resources, the utilities, anything that you can think of. They are consuming it all, and they have got to go. And they're trying to bring that crap here. It's evil. And that's what I see. I see this right now. It's like, okay, you know what? This is what we're going to do. These people, we're going to make it where if you try to question anything that we do, there's going to be a problem. And if you try to even put these things in the minds of other people, there's going to be a problem. And anybody who's old and feeble, or even old and productive,
look at King's Mina, AIDS, drug abusers, and the handicapped.
Yes. We in some scary times, y'all. All I can say is that we need to push back, because our lives are important. We all matter. Fuck that.
Exactly.
We all matter.
And
I'm
see,
dropping
that's
down.
I just wanted to close with this. I'm gonna let you drop down, but that's why I feel like it is so important to talk about this stuff in detail. And
Yes.
you would have gotten her saying, "Okay, they're not going to do it anymore," and then they came back. This this memo came out last Thursday. I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday when they said they wasn't going to do it, but in Thursday they already had something different in store. So we have to be aware. So go check out that hearing. It's in my description box where I covered this hearing, and go check it out. Thank you for coming up. I
Wait a minute.
appreciate
You know
it.
what I want? I want all of my Black people. I want y'all to start watching C-SPAN, because a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of things that we see coming down the pipe, they're initiated on C-SPAN. You can see what these folks are doing. Pay attention.
Exactly.
Watch C-SPAN and listen. Listen carefully, and you get to see and you get to prepare. I ain't all about the fuck shit and the bullshit over on lemons. I pay attention, baby. Okay.
Now, that's where you hear what's really going on when they're talking amongst themselves. You're right.
Yes. They all talk. That's the whisper spot. That's the whisper spot. Go in there and watch C-SPAN. You're going to see your local politicians. You're going to see your federals, your state, all of them. They doing their thing under your nose, and you have no clue, because you looking at Real Housewives of Atlanta. Okay. All right, Ronnie Q. Love you,
Thank
boo.
you. Love you too.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye beans and cornbread. I'm going to drop you down. I think she know how to get out, but just in case, let me drop beans and kick from the studio. Okay. I got you off, beans. So let's hear the remainder. Thank you for coming up. I appreciate. Hey, CEO Bus Lady. Hey, Kings Mina. Hey, Miss Ray. Welcome. And hit the like button, ladies, and let's see.
Mentioned many of them are getting closed. There's just no way for them to deal with the number of people who would now need to come into the office to verify their identification under this new proposal.
Is there any corresponding sort of implementation memo, right? If they're saying internally and officially at Social Security that this would result in 80,000 more people needing to use field offices per week, is there also implementation work being done to scale up the capacity of the field offices to be able to do that?
No, in fact, it's just the opposite. They're closing down the field offices. One of the things that's remarkable, as they're taking away the ability to do the things you need to do, like file a claim, which is probably the most important thing, over the phone, they're actually converting some of these field offices to phone only. So they're taking away the in-person services. So I think this is an effort to really strain the agency beyond what it can handle. And one thing I want to note is 75 to 85,000 people coming to the office. Those are actually the lucky ones, because as Social Security kind of elliptically notes in this memorandum, there are vulnerable populations who cannot get physically to an office because they are elderly or disabled in a way that prevents them from traveling. Sometimes you have to travel over 100 miles to get to a local office. It's not always around the corner.
And that's even
so that's what I wanted you guys to hear. That is the newest thing that they have going. And hey, Nini, go. Thank you for being here. So I have one goal. I just want to remind anyone who comes in, if you hear something that is new, that you didn't know, that you feel that is helpful to you, you can help me reach my goal. Now let's talk about, now see, let's be clear. I am someone who grew up most of my life in California. And in California is when I first realized that there was a lot of border crossings. There was a lot of Mexicans, uh, and as I became an adult and I started looking at different jobs, I was like surprised that a lot of the jobs required that you had to be bilingual if you wanted to work in any capacity with the state of California and all of that. And I was like, I'm going to tell you, like, I was like, I don't understand why we have to be bilingual as a prerequisite to get a job, because uh, what it really mean is that if you did speak Spanish, you were more likely to get a job. At during that time, these were good paying, uh, stable jobs that many people didn't have to have a college degree to get, but they made decent money, good money. So I was just like, what the fuck? That's crazy. Okay, so and I also saw, you just see a lot of people, and you find out that they're getting welfare, and their husbands or boyfriend is working under the table for cash, and uh, and you wonder why you can't get ahead. Then you see them working for different city jobs, and these are jobs that you used to see Black people working for the city that I lived in. It was a nice city, a beautiful city, and you see it goes from Black employees to all Hispanic employees, and then it's to the point where Black employees need not apply, because they're going to put their people on. And I'm not against it, but I'm not one of their people. See, unfortunately, our people have gotten to the point where if we get something good, we just want to show it off, but we don't want to put our people on. And therefore, these people who come over here illegally, half of them don't even have to apply for a job. They already got jobs set up for them. So I definitely feel like some the border situation needed to be addressed. In saying all of that, in saying all of that, I want to say that what they did, taking all of those 200 and something people out of the country and sending them to uh, El Salvador, to this El Salvadorian prison, that is beyond the pale. And let's be clear that there was a judge who already had a hold order where they couldn't take them out of out of the country. They couldn't deport them, but they're saying that they're Nicaraguan. They're saying that they are I think it was Nicaraguan. What is it? Were they saying they were from Nicaragua? They were saying that they were gang members from Nicaragua, but they are deporting them to a prison in El Salvador. So, first of all, that made no sense to me. And second of all, knowing the way that this administration has been doing things, let's be clear. They had all of these military planes going to Guantanamo Bay, big, huge military planes. I showed you the planes, if you've been watching me, that they could fit fleets of helicopters inside the planes that they were using to take these people to Guantanamo Bay. And they took a total of, I believe it was 120 people, and used two huge military military planes to get them there, and overspent so much money when they could have easily flown them on a regular flight. So, but they wanted to make a big production. They had Fox News out there and these military planes coming down, and you got 60 people on 100 people on one plane, and 20 on another plane. Just wasting money. Talking about looking for waste, fraud, and abuse. It is factual that even though that if you round it out right now, even though he's only been in office two months, he has actually deported fewer people than Biden, and Biden had deported way fewer people than President Obama. But he wanted to make it a big splash. That was his campaign promise. And so he's using all of this fanfare to make it appear like he is doing so much on these deportations. This is what the story is. I'm just telling you the story that I've gotten. I played the clips for you last week. I can't rehash the story. Go check out some of my videos. The links are in the description box. Okay, of all the videos that I play. So I'm just not talking is my point. So I think that it was disgusting that they sent these people over to to El Salvador, who was allegedly from Nicaragua, and the simple fact that we know that some of these people that they sent to Guantanamo Bay, they said that they were supposed to be the worst of the worst criminals. And we know that some of these people that they sent over there had no criminal record. The only crime that they committed was crossing the border illegally. And what happened over at Guantanamo Bay, where they had they said that they could accept 30,000 detainees at Guantanamo. And what happened? They were there a week, and they have shipped all of them back out to the United States. And they gave them a day to show up in court. Catch and release. The thing that they said that they couldn't stand that the Democrats were doing. And let's be clear, there was a bill that the Republicans and Democrats had approved on prior to 45 starting his revving up his campaign. That would have given them more Border Patrol agents, more judges to handle this. But 45, 47 told the Republicans, gave them a dog whistle to not sign their own agreement that was mastered by an actual Republican. They told them, don't sign that agreement, because that's the issue I want to run on. And let's be clear, right now, while they're acting as if there's nothing they can do, they're actually laying off judges who would actually see these cases. They are firing the judges instead of hiring more judges, which that bill that they rejected their own bill would have done, hired more judges. They're actually firing immigration judges right now. So these people cannot be processed. But they had such a problem with what they call catch and release. You know, they check the people in, they give them the date to show up to see the judge, and then they release them into our society. So that was such a bad thing. And you hear all of this jaw jerking that they're all criminals. They're releasing them from the insane asylums and all of this stuff. But you haven't seen any proof of anything that they are talking about. So I think someone saw a little bit too much of Scarface is what I'm getting of it, because I can't trust anything that comes out of this administration's mouth. Sure, you got some. I'm not saying they all just want a new life. Oh, we just want a new life. And if they just want a new life so bad, why do they understand that this is a place that they can go? But there's no repercussions for any of the employers, any of the big businesses that hire them, that they are so acute to that if they get here, they will find a job. Let's talk about businesses that hire them. Okay, we don't want to talk about none of that. We don't want to talk about none of that. So my whole point is, who's to say that any of those guys, I'm pretty sure some of them are in a gang, but you mean to tell me that all 200 or 300 of those guys are in a gang? And let's keep it above. What you guys don't know about this prison, may or may not know about this prison in El Salvador. This is where they keep the worst of the worst prisoners, and these are people who are not ever getting out of that prison. The people from El Salvador, they're never getting out of this prison. And so you mean to tell me that this administration, who have been firing people and having to rehire them because they didn't know exactly what their job was, know that all of these people are in some TBA gang. I forget the name of the gang. They I think it's TBA that they call this gang. So the judge, they did not follow a judge's order. So the judge made an emergency ruling on Saturday, and he clearly put out that these people cannot be deported to El Salvador. So when they found out that they were in court, what they started rushing to get these people on these planes, and they got 2 planes up in the air. And even in the judge's verbal order, he said that if they are in the air, they have to turn around and come back with these people. He said if they have landed, they have to turn around and come back with these people. And even one of the planes didn't take off on Saturday until after the judge's order. So so they go to a hearing. About 45 minutes after the hearing starts with this judge who makes this order, 2 of the planes take off. So it was less than an hour. They could not have been. It was less than an hour when he made his judgment. So what the 47 administration is saying was that these planes were already in international waters. So that's why they didn't turn around. But what about the plane that hadn't even left the ground? So we're going to go over the order. Good morning, Michi Black. Thank you for being here. We're going to go over the actual order. We're going to look at this El Salvador prison, but there is something peculiar about the videos that they have of this El Salvador prison. I will show it to you. So let's go into the details about. It seems like and let's be clear that guy who's over ICE, I think his name Hellman, I forget his first name, Hank Hellman or something like that. He said, first they tried to say, oh, well, we were in international waters and this, that, and the other. See, that's the same guy who sat on Fox News' couch and said that Eric Adams had to allow him to deport people from jails. And if he don't do that, he was the one who messed that up because they wanted to get the illegal immigrants out of New York City jails, which is against New York City law. The mayor is not allowed to do that. But he sat on Fox News and said that there was a quid pro quo for Adams to get his charges dropped, for Adams to do something that New York City law does not allow for, which is to allow ICE into the jails in New York City to deport illegal undocumented immigrants. So, okay, where am I? So let's view this. He also was the one who sat on Fox News yesterday, and he said he don't care what no judge say. He don't care what no court say, they are going to do what they do. So while they're trying to pretend like, oh, well, we just kept going because we were in international air and we over international seas, and we didn't think that it still applied. Yes, you knew that a judge order is a judge order. You are a United States a citizen, and it always and when they tell you to turn the plane around, you're supposed to turn the plane around. So they tried to use that as a caveat. But then that big bunking, tomato nose bunking, sat up on Fox News and said he don't care what no court say. He don't care what no judge say. He gonna do what he gonna do. So let's check this out. Okay, I think it's this one. Okay. And then I'm going to give you the timeline of events as it happened. So don't forget to hit the like button. Okay, yeah, it's sharing. Okay.
The Alien Enemies Act of 17... As we talked about on Friday night's show, the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 is a law that is a wartime law in this country. It's used during wartime only. The last time it was used was during World War II, when it was used to put Japanese Americans in internment camps, something for which the US government later apologized and paid reparations under Ronald Reagan. Nevertheless, in an unannounced written statement this weekend, Donald Trump claimed that that was the law he would use as the basis for deporting people who he determined to be members of a Venezuelan gang.
So also know that the Aliens Enemy Act is a wartime action. We're not at war. And so they did an interview with Stephen Miller yesterday, and he tried to rationalize this every way till Sunday about why this is an invasion on our land, and so that's why it's covered. So let's continue.
He would use that law to deport people immediately without any due process or any legal consideration at all. Organizations, including the ACLU, sued immediately to block him from using that 1700s law. The chief judge of the Washington, D.C. Federal District Court held an emergency hearing on the ACLU's lawsuit late Saturday afternoon. And at that hearing, the ACLU's lawyer, Lee Gallant, told that judge that it was his understanding that planes were about to take off, or possibly had taken off during the hearing, carrying hundreds of men out of this country toward a prison in El Salvador. There was a Trump administration lawyer there representing the government. That lawyer said he couldn't give the judge any information about that at all. So again, this was an emergency hearing late on Saturday, and the judge ended up basically saying, listen, there are difficult questions of law here, and these are going to have to be worked out in the courts. For now, I am blocking the Trump administration from deporting people under this law from the 1700s. They are blocked from using this law as the basis for these deportations until we can hash out these legal questions. So the judge actually said to the Trump administration lawyer, quote, "You shall inform your clients," meaning inform the Trump administration, "of this immediately. You should inform them that any plane containing these folks that's going to take off or is in the air needs to be returned to the United States. Those people need to be returned to the United States." Quote, "This is something that you need to make sure is complied with immediately." By all appearances, that order was not complied with immediately. NBC News reports that 2 flights carrying these men were in transit when the judge issued his ruling, but they did not turn around. They continued on their way. The Washington Post reports that a 3rd plane was still on the ground at the time of that ruling. It hadn't taken off in Texas until after that judge's ruling had been issued. The next morning, the pro-Trump president of El Salvador announced that his country had accepted 238 men from the United States. He posted a slickly produced 3-minute propaganda video of some of these men being sort of manhandled and pushed around, and all of them having their heads shaved by armed Salvadoran military or security forces. President Trump happily posted the video as well. President of El Salvador says these men will be jailed in a massive prison in his country for as many years as the U.S. wants to pay him to keep them there. They have not been charged with crimes and thereby sentenced to serve this time. They're just being locked up indefinitely at the pleasure of El Salvador. At the White House press briefing today, Trump's press secretary listed all the crimes these men ostensibly committed, but a senior Trump administration official tells NBC News that these men have not necessarily been convicted of any of these crimes. Still, though, They're in prison now in El Salvador indefinitely, having been disappeared out of this country with no process whatsoever. We don't even know who these guys are. They keep saying they're Venezuelan gang members. We don't even know if they're Venezuelans, let alone gang members. Unsurprisingly, the federal judge who held that hearing on Saturday, where he made it abundantly clear that nobody was supposed to be sent to El Salvador, he called a new hearing today to assess whether the Trump administration had knowingly violated his court order. Quote, a federal judge pressed a Justice Department lawyer today over why the Trump administration did not comply with his order to temporarily halt deportations under an 18th century law, and asked why key information about the flights was being withheld over the weekend. In a tense hearing, the judge summarized the administration's position on his court order Saturday as, quote, we don't care, we'll do what we want. Trump administration lawyer at this evening's hearing still refused to provide any information about the flights. And so the judge has now ordered another hearing for tomorrow at noon, at which the Trump administration must give him the information he wants or explain the legal rationale for why they are not giving it to him. And if they don't, then, well then. Hanging in the balance immediately is the fate of untold numbers of people who Donald Trump may try to send to the Salvadoran prison. The president of El Salvador has said openly that he'd be happy to put U.S. citizens there too. But also hanging in the balance is whether the Trump administration is considering not just trying to wheedle their way out of it, but whether they're...
He'd be happy to put U.S. citizens there too. That's what I just want you to hear that. Okay, so once they tenderize your mind, once they get you to say, well, it's them, it's not me. What is that saying that I always remind of? They came for the socialists, but I did nothing because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the unionists. But here it is right here. Here it is right here. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unions, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak up for me. So let's be clear. You know, they try to act as if they are doing certain things only for certain people. They are paying, I think that they said that they're paying $6 million for these people to be housed there. I don't know how many people, if it's all of the 200 or 300 people that are there that they're paying $6 million a year for. I'm pretty sure they're paying a lot more. I just would assume that they're paying a lot more. But once they start doing it to them, what makes you think that they are just disappearing people? That's what they call disappearing people, picking people up without any due process. We don't know if these people are Venezuelan, or we don't know if these people are gang members. At what point do we okay this to be okay? Let's not forget that some of the people that they had picked up were actually American Indians. Some people were actually American citizens that they had previously picked up, and they were detained for hours or days before they found out. So just because they're picking them up and they're telling you that these are gang members, you ought to be leery, because at what day are they just going to start? And you heard them say they wouldn't mind sending Americans there. So what would you be okay if you lived in a city and they start picking up people and just saying that they were gang members and sending them away to this El Salvadorian prison? Because they are just trying to tenderize the idea of using what they're telling you are people who are illegals, even though they have picked up American citizens. And even this El Salvadorian prison said that they have recently had to release 7,000 prisoners because they found out that they were in fact not gang members. This is the jail for the worst of the worst that they put their gang members in. They said the crime has greatly decreased. And this is what they do. It's an authoritarian country. So this is what they do. So now we have our president doing what they do. So how is any of this making sense? Because I'm just telling you the unconstitutionality of all of this. If you start to accept this, you're going to accept it being done to yourself and your family. That's all I'm saying. And that's all I see from this. That's the only thing I see from this type of shit happening. Okay, so let me see what you guys are talking about.
They're considering openly flouting a court order, which is a very fast trip down a very short street in terms of how much of a republic we still are.
I think that that's why, if you notice my thumbnail, we are absolutely turning into a banana republic. That's what type of republic we are. Let me see what you guys are saying. Oh, just the hellos. Thanks for joining the live stream. Let me make sure I'm not missing. No, you guys don't have anything to say about that. Nothing. Miss LA said, even though I'm born and raised, I think she means in America, it is important now to get your passport, your real ID, print and notary. I think you mean notarize your paperwork and carry it with you. Where's your papers? We are back to the where's your papers of it all. I cannot disagree. So I think, let me see. I think that is unfortunate, but I think it's true. Unfortunate, but true. Now, I think I have this Hellman guy saying this out of his own mouth. I think I have this. Okay. Let me share my screen with you guys. He is really pumped about it. Okay. Let me share this with you guys.
The power of the courts, sometimes appearing to openly defy them, facing legal, nonpartisan, and liberal criticism because of the move here over the weekend to go forward with deportations despite what appeared to be clear orders from a federal judge. This clash right now, and I'm going to walk you through it, it does raise the prospect of the Trump administration deliberately defying court orders. Now, that claim itself is part of the dispute. We are going to go through this with the available facts, and as always, reporting everything we know from all sides, so you can make up your own mind. But there are valid questions here about whether this is now, and I'm going to say it plainly, an intentional autocratic effort by the Trump administration to break the law and then violate judicial orders that enforce the law they are accused of, and in some cases, according to judicial findings, having been found to have broken. Now, that prospect goes farther than most presidencies in the modern era. You could go back to Nixon for very negative examples where we had a similar pattern. In fact, it goes farther than Donald Trump's first term, which whatever you think of the politics or the ethics or the rhetoric or the leadership of that first term, we did not see in the main, on a regular basis, what we're seeing here in this new clash from President Trump, 45th President of the United States, first term. So I can measurably show you with evidence why this is concerning, extreme, radical, and potentially lawless. But what we're going to do right now with our report is just go through first the facts we have on this very big controversy. It began with the weekend clash over immigration powers, the administration deporting hundreds of migrants on an emergency basis without any apparent due process. That's based on what we know that came out of a very rushed, controversial process. And again, if we learn more about possible improvements or enhancements to that, we'll tell you. But right now, that's what we know. The administration basically alleged or said these individuals were gang members and then invoked a wartime law, the Alien Enemies Act, and then a judge halted those planned deportations, I should say, under that plan. Now, let me be very clear with you. That kind of judicial order is the final word until and unless a higher court intervenes. That's the end of it. And as I said, in the first term of the Trump administration, that's how these things went. You might remember the travel ban was halted, and then it was narrowed, and then parts of it went forward. All of that went through the process that I'm reporting for you, where courts.
Okay, and the funny thing about this is I can't stand Stephen Miller. He did an interview on CNN, and he was just trying to just do a word salad. And what he said was the district judge had no jurisdiction over the executive branch. And then he kept on talking and talking. And what he said was, I believe that the Supreme Court would agree with us. But how can the Supreme Court agree with you without it going through a district judge? So he's trying to say that they didn't have to follow the district judge ruling at all because they had no jurisdiction over them. Yes, they did. And so you mean to tell me that you think that it just goes straight to the Supreme Court? No, there's a ruling that you have to appeal from the district court to make it go to the Supreme Court. See, all of their arguments are bullshit. That's all I'm trying to tell you. I may pull, it's so long and wordy. You guys may have to pull that up. I'll pull it up and I'll drop you the link because he makes me so sick. That's Stephen Miller.
Rule and the administration and all of the many officials and agents involved in these type of things follow the law. And the law is what the last word came out of the courts. But now this administration, which has previously followed court orders and did so across the first term, has taken a very different tack. And we have evidence to believe it is not incompetence or a mistake, which, while a big deal, would play out differently, but that it's intentional. This time, despite the order, those planned deportations that had supposed to have been halted went forward, and that plane took off.
President Trump has invoked a wartime law known as the Alien Enemies Act
to deport suspected members of a Venezuelan gang. A federal judge immediately blocked the president's proclamation.
He ordered the planes deporting Venezuelans to immediately return to America.
The White House is disregarding a judge's ruling on deportations, claiming in this case the court has no authority in the matter,
setting up a potential constitutional challenge.
The migrants flown from Texas to El Salvador. You can see them getting off the plane where they were taken into custody. This video was shared by an administration that is seen as allied with the Trump administration, the leaders of El Salvador. The judge had ruled to stop what you see happen there. And as for the claim by Trump's lawyers that he had war powers that could supersede the normal way these things work, that was invalid because the U.S. was not at war, the judge noted. So the move violates the plain text of the Alien Enemies Act. It also exceeds the limited authority granted to, in this case, Trump's executive branch, by Congress under law, the judge ordering that the migrants be returned to the U.S. unless the plane had landed and they had already disembarked in a foreign country. So that's clear. And beyond the written order, the judge stated any plane containing these folks that is going to take off, or is in the air, needs to be returned to the United States. So what you see there is a series of acts and events. And remember, for everything that comes down from the president through border officials, through political appointees, there is then the rest of the people inside the government who are U.S. officials who are supposed to follow the rule of law. They all know and have been through this drill before that the rule of law in the United States does not start and end with politicians. Heaven forbid, as many people might say. It is ultimately overseen through judges that enforce constitutional limitations. So any U.S. official aware of those limitations as ruled on by a judge knows the last word is the judge, and you shouldn't be following unlawful orders. Indeed, you took an oath to the Constitution, not to any random president. But maybe.
Okay, so let me show you. The link is in the description box for this. I'm going to stop sharing this because I just want you to see the head of ICE saying he don't care what no court and no judges has to say. Okay. Let me share this with you so you can hear it out of the ICE. The guy who's over the ICE say he don't care what no judge says. Okay, let me make sure it's sharing. Yes, it's sharing. Here we go.
aficionado here. Let's listen to Mr. Holman.
I don't know why any judge would want terrorists returned to the United States. I mean, first of all, the video, what a beautiful thing to see.
It's incredible. Okay, so they've gone from calling them gang members, and now they're saying they are terrorists. And I don't know why a judge would want terrorists. So now they're terrorists. So watch the wordplay. Let's continue.
We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming.
So we are here.
We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left think. We're here. So
here at that moment that a lot of folks said would be the last piece of this to fall. And that is when the administration said, we don't really care what judges think. We're going to do what we want to do. And they can't stop us. You listened in on this hearing today. What was your takeaway?
Well, it seems to be the argument here, Michael. I mean, one of the things that statement by Tom Homan is doing, and a similar statement by Attorney General Pam Bondi is doing, is suggesting that this is a substantive battle, that you're either for the terrorists or you're against the terrorists. And instead, what the judge is trying to do here is to uphold the law. There is a serious legal question as to whether the Alien Enemy Act applies, because it says that it only applies during times of war or invasion. Neither of those things are present. It is also the case that these people get due process to find out if they are non-citizens and members of this particular gang before they can be deported. None of that has happened. So today, the judge wanted to know, when I said planes should be turned around if they're already in the air, did you violate that order? And today, the government lawyers refused to answer those questions for the judge. He got understandably frustrated by that failure to answer those questions, and even said they may be matters of national security, and so we don't have to tell you. Now, Judge Boasberg.
Now they're invoking national security. What about you not doing well? Now all of the buzzword terrorists, something that's dealing with national security. It's just bullshit. It's bullshit. So are American citizens going to be matters of national security next? I'm just saying. If we we normalize this bullshit, who's next? Okay, so what do you guys think? Hey, Naturally Lux. Y'all don't have anything to say. Peace and blessings. I linked in while hubby and I were traveling. I will be listening on and off. Thank you, Naturally Lux. Okay, so you can see the full. I think she's a constitutional lawyer, so you can watch the whole thing there. So the link is in the description box. It was a great conversation, so I want to show you. They said that they put a 3-minute propaganda video up. So I think this is the little propaganda video that they put out. Let's watch. We don't need any sound. It's all written. Okay. Okay, so that is the video that the president El Salvador put out. 45, 47 Truth Socialed or retweeted this video. So uh, this is their introduction to that facility. So I also I had seen this facility one time. There are some YouTube channels that show the best prisons and the worst prisons. So I said that looks like that prison where they make them sit back to back to back to back and put their head on the person in front of them. And sure enough, it is that actual prison. So let me show you. But what's so funny about all of these exposés where they let people into this prison, they get to interview someone who is in the prison. And when they interview the people, now it was 3 different reporters at 3 different dates, and they all interviewed the same prison. So I'm thinking, it's just my thinking that this is
go in here.
somebody who actually worked for the prison, because they're all interviewing the same guy. And he looks nothing, well, he does have tattoos, but they're on his belly and chest. Not look at these faces of some of these
Even as
guys.
I'm stepping through these doors, I don't fully grasp what we're about to walk into. Suddenly, you're hit with the intense gaze of dozens locking onto you. These men described as the worst of the worst, tattooed with reminders of El Salvador's dark past. It's tense and uncomfortable. But here, officials say comfort isn't meant to exist.
There's no mattresses, there's no sheets. You've got a toilet over here for them to go to the bathroom. You've got this basin here that they use to bathe themselves. And then you can see there's a barrel of water that they can drink from.
This is a rare look inside El Salvador's terrorism confinement center, known as SECOT.
He says there's always somebody standing here in front of the cells. And then if you look up, there's another corridor with more security personnel. Luz 24 horas. 24/7 light.
The prison sits like an isolated fortress, nestled in mountainous terrain, about an hour-and-a-half drive from the capital. Even with government officials on board with us, we're stopped a mile out.
Oh, okay. He's gonna inspect bags now too. Okay, we're clear to get back in.
Only to hit another checkpoint. Approaching the main gate, our cell signals vanish.
Okay, want to do a full search on us before we enter.
SECOT's director, Belarmino Garcia, greets us and takes us.
The far end, you have one that's 9 meters high of concrete, and then above that, 3 meters of electrified fencing.
15,000 volts.
15,000 volts.
More than 1,000 security personnel, guards, police, and military are stationed on site. Inmates are assigned to one of 8 sectors.
The director tells me the inmates, once they're inside one of these sectors, they never leave. Everything is done within, including doctors, as well as legal visits.
Okay, let's be clear. They are not outside. They do that. They get 0 outside time, and once they go in, they get no contact with their families, period, at all. And once they go in, the only way they're going out is on a gurney or in a body bag.
Or court hearings.
Each sector holds more than this nation hostage for decades, committing brutal acts of violence.
You gotta kill people, you gotta rob, you gotta do what you gotta do to survive.
Now, so all of the 3 interviewers just so happened to be with this man. Okay, I don't know how that worked, but yes, bullshit. I'm calling on this.
MS-13.
And do you have any gang affiliations?
Yeah, I'm tattooed up.
What is this?
Crazy criminal. Say crazy criminal. Yeah, I made this click in 2011.
You made the click?
Yeah.
You were a gang leader. We're gonna close the door. I just want to get a sense. Wow.
Solitary confinement awaits.
The only light you get is through this hole. They can be in here.
and declared a controversial state of emergency under President Nayib Bukele, who took office in 2019 and declared a controversial state of emergency more than 2 years ago. It sparked an aggressive crackdown on crime.
He declared a state of emergency, kind of like 45, 47 declared that Aliens Enemies Act, and he said that if crime continued on the streets, you better worry about your loved ones who are in jail if they will get 1 grain of rice. Well, basically, he said he will starve these prisoners if crime and it brought crime down. But let's continue.
We see that firsthand as some 2,500 police and soldiers deploy into one neighborhood.
Is going to go on through the night for however long it takes for them to root out any suspected criminal elements.
And if they suspect you of being a criminal element, they just take you into this prison. And they said that they have had to release 7,000 people who, oops, are bad. Kind of like the oops, too late that the president of El Salvador tweeted, and this tweet was reshared about Trump sending these prisoners to El Salvador. He said, oops, too late. They're already here. So, if they happen to get some people who are not, they may figure this out later. Okay.
Late last week, as the U.S. State Department lowered its travel advisory for El Salvador, citing a significant reduction in crime, it also warned that Bukele's emergency measures allow authorities to arrest anyone suspected of gang activity and suspends constitutional rights.
Oh, so why does he always follow? Why does he always follow the moves of dictators? Do you ever wonder?
Juan Carlos tells me he was wrongfully held for 5 months at a lower security prison earlier this year. He says the poor conditions led to an infection in his leg.
He said he was lumped in and assumed to be part of a gang. And he said in part because of how he looked, he had long hair. He said he had a long beard. And he says he has tattoos, but he points out that for him, these are just artistic expressions. They have nothing to do with being part of a gang.
The Bukele administration has acknowledged that innocent people have been swept up in the crackdown, and they say more than 7,000 have already been released. They see it as collateral damage, and Juan Carlos, while frustrated with the tactics, believes under Bukele his country is safer.
Is this headquarters for you guys?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Bukele's security minister targets gangs with an academic-like approach.
I heard you have a book. Is it true?
Yeah.
And this is a book that has the markings of gang members.
All the markings.
Okay, so I just wanted you guys to see what a slippery slope we are on. So I think that that's it for me today. Let me make sure. Let me see. I don't think there's anything else. I don't think there's anything else that. Wait a minute. Oh, yes, there is something else. Last night I ran across a story that the muskrats have tried to go in some facilities that are independently owned, and even the CEO of these independently owned facilities have had to call the police out, and they refused to give them access. And after they refused to give them access, they came back with people who they said were federal marshals, and it's believed that these people were armed, and they just bogarted their way in and threw the actual CEO and all the workers out of their own buildings. So that's going on. Let's listen to and then not just one agency, 2 independent agencies that are not a part of the government. So after they threw them out, the second agency called the DC Police. And you know what the DC Police did? They let them just rifle through this private agency. So let me share that with you. That's something I wanted you guys
There's
to
one
hear as
other
well.
story that is breaking just tonight. It's just broken. It's just developed sort of within the past couple of hours. And I want to bring this to you first. I'm not sure you've seen this elsewhere. You might remember a couple of weeks ago, we covered here on this show a sort of, in the grand scheme of things, a small scale confrontation in one small government office in Washington. It's a little agency that you definitely haven't heard of. It's called the U.S. Africa Development Foundation. And the reason we covered what was going on there is because something unusual happened there when Trump went after that office, went after that agency and tried to shut them down. At that agency, they had a physical confrontation with people from DOGE, from the Elon Musk austerity group. These would-be anonymous young men who work for Elon Musk. They showed up. Do you remember the story? They showed up at that small government agency and they demanded to be let inside. And that small government agency told them no. They said, we're an independent agency. We are actually not part of the executive branch. You have no legal authority over us. You have no legal right to come in. We do not invite you in. We say you can't come in. You cannot come in. And the DOGE kids left when they were told they couldn't come in. But then the next day they came back with muscle. They came back with people who said they were US Marshals. And we think those people were possibly armed. They were carrying guns. Now, the U.S. Marshal Service consistently will not comment on this. They will not say whether or not those people were actually U.S. Marshals.
So they don't know if they were new U.S. Marshals because the Marshal Service don't comment and won't say. So anybody can just come up there. We are aware that they have given the muskrat his own security in line and at levels of the Secret Service, and they do carry their own weapons. We are aware of that. So they don't know who these people are. But let's continue.
Have some reporting that suggests they may not have been U.S. Marshals. Nevertheless, they reportedly claimed to be U.S. Marshals. And with those men, with those people claiming to be U.S. Marshals, the young men from DOGE did physically force their way into that agency and then locked out all the actual staff and changed the locks.
You'll be amazed by how a limit with
So whether or not you know, your heartstrings are pulled by the fate of that individual agency, right? You can see why this might be a qualitatively more worrying thing than some of the other stuff we have seen. I mean, there are legitimate legal disputes as to whether this DOGE group has any legal authority over some of these agencies that they're trying to get into so they can take over their systems and fire their staff and shut them down. Those disputes are legal disputes that need to be sorted out legally. You can't just use guns to force your way in the meantime, as a means of settling that dispute. If there's a legal dispute as to whether or not you are allowed,
I guess she ain't got the memo. Obviously they can. Let's continue.
In a US government building, and you cast that aside and say, we've got guns, and that's the grounds on which we're coming in. What that is an armed assault on the US government. That is an armed assault on a US government office. That's a break-in. That's call the cops territory. That's barricade the doors territory. I mean, at that point, what's to stop the little government agency from bringing in their own armed force, right? And then we shoot it out. That said, if there is an armed part of the US government, somebody who's allowed, whose agents are allowed to carry weapons, who have badges, who are allowed to use physical force as part of their job, it's the US Marshals or anyone else. If they are now working for DOGE against other parts of the government that you might think have an equal claim to their services and protection, well, then if that's the case, DOGE is something different than we thought it was. Do they have an army? I mean, if the president has given his top campaign donor the ability to use physical force, the ability to use the force of arms against other parts of the US government, we are in a different place than we thought we were. Worrying possibilities were raised by that conflict at the US Africa Development Foundation when that unfolded a couple of weeks ago. That's why we covered it here on this show when it happened. That led last week to a lawsuit being filed against the U.S. Marshals. Democracy Forward filed this lawsuit last week, asking in part why, quote, individuals associated with DOGE have repeatedly invoked threats to engage the U.S. Marshal Service when seeking questionable access to agency buildings and information. So that happened at the U.S. Africa Development Foundation a couple of weeks ago, led to the lawsuit against the U.S. Marshals, demanding information from the Marshals last week. Well, now tonight, it has led to another physical confrontation. And this time, the agency in question actually did call the cops. In this case, it's something called the U.S. Institute of Peace. It works on things like research in conflict zones and training future diplomats. It was created by Congress during the Reagan administration. It was created in 1984. But it is not an official part of the U.S. government. It does not act in the name of the U.S. government. It is a separate institution. Nevertheless, on Friday, representatives from DOGE showed up unannounced at their building. And they showed up unannounced, this time not with somebody claiming to be a U.S. Marshal. This time they showed up with FBI agents? Wait, the FBI works for DOGE? They demanded entry into the U.S. Institute of Peace. The DOGE team was reportedly met by lawyers for the Institute who informed them, quote, of the Institute's private and independent status as a non-executive branch agency. They told them they could not come in. The DOGE representatives on Friday then departed. That was Friday. But now, today, apparently it has come to a different ending. We got this alarming quote from the CEO of that independent organization tonight. Quote, DOGE has broken into our building. The New York Times reports, quote, the U.S. Institute for Peace called the D.C. police on the Musk team members in an effort to stop them from trespassing because the Institute has control of its own building and the land it sits on. But instead, the D.C. police allowed them to enter and kicked out the Institute's officials.
Newsmax has been
Welcome to your new world. I just wanted to show you guys that. And there's one more thing I would be remiss if I didn't show you about DOGE. So it doesn't seem like DOGE is really the bomb. So let's see what else DOGE has been up to. I just think I don't hear too much of this.
DOGE ended without a ruling from a U.S. district judge who instead extended a temporary restraining order another 7 days to consider whether a protective injunction, which prevents a party from taking a certain type of action, should be placed on DOGE officials as a way to prevent them from accessing your personal information. The lawsuits come as unions for current and former federal employees allege that the government unlawfully disclosed the personal data of millions of Americans to DOGE. That closely watched hearing comes as cuts to the federal government are now endangering a top secret national nuclear security agency home to key nuclear scientists, bomb engineers, and experts tasked with safeguarding the transport of nuclear materials. They're now facing staffing issues. How fun. Totally not frightening at all. This new
But we were told that DOGE had rehired all of these people, kind of like the Social Security information that, oh no, we rescinded we are eliminating the phone calls only to have you verify yourself via computer anyway. So once it was disclosed that all of the people who were responsible with guarding and transporting nuclear weapons were fired, they're still having the exact same problem right now. So I'm just letting you know that you hear that about all of this transparency and all of this stuff, and they are still doing whatever they want to. They had that committee on DOGE, which I showed you a little clip of, and I carried the whole hearing. They are still giving out our personal information to whomever they choose to. And let's understand that Elon Musk wants to create some type of system where he can accept payments and all of this stuff, and all of this information, even up to medical and banking information, is allegedly being sourced. So what is it being sourced to? Who is collecting all of this information? And what will they do with all of this information? Will they do like Facebook started to do with their algorithms and send you things that that only interest you? Is that, that's what algorithms usually do. They know everything about you and they know how to come at you. So those are some things that I wanted to share with you. So I think there's one more thing. The links to all of my videos that I have played a little bit of are in the description box. Hold on, let me check one last thing. Okay. Okay, so I don't play a lot of this guy. I don't know why. I watch him all the time. And it seems like Chuck Schumer is in hiding. So let's talk about where is Chuck? Chuck the Smuck.
Book tour in a number of cities on a book that he has authored. Chuck Schumer is scheduled to do a book tour in a number of cities on a book that he has authored on anti-Semitism. He has just canceled that book tour, we are learning, because of protests that were scheduled from activist groups who wanted to go after his decision to agree and allow the government funding bill to go forward to
which they are allowed to protest the government. It is in the Constitution. So now let's continue.
Avoid a government shutdown. They were furious at his decision to do that.
You heard that right. Chuck Schumer's book tour was canceled because there were plans to protest him because he capitulated to Donald Trump. As Emma Vigeland pointed out, there were events scheduled in Baltimore, New York City, D.C., Philly, and San Francisco where you could pay him $56 to have him promote his book to you, which sounds like an excellent idea if you're an idiot. And people were undoubtedly planning to show up to these book tour events to protest him. But due to his own cowardice, he chose to cancel these events because he didn't want to face the people that he just betrayed. And what's even more insulting is that he's not even being honest about why he canceled his book tour. As Politico reports, the reason given for the cancellation was, quote, security concerns, which is an obvious lie. There are no security concerns. This is why he chose to cancel these events.
Schumer is selling out the people of DC and the people of this country. He's selling out working people, young people. He's not standing up.
We are here in front of Chuck Schumer's office to send a clear message that young people want him to stand up. Step up or step aside. Step up and read under the day on you.
Why are you here? I'm here for all of the students, all the teachers in the schools that I was with who are going to get defunded by the things that are going on. Chuck Schumer needs to stand up.
That right there is the security concern that his team cited. He is a coward who refuses to face his own constituents. That's what this is about. And a couple of weeks ago on MSNBC, he said that he himself planned on doing town halls in red districts, but the entire reason for him doing that was because Republicans like him didn't want to face their own constituents. So it's ironic that he is now in the same boat as these spineless Republicans. And I take it that he's going to postpone those town halls too, since he doesn't want to get reamed by working class people who are going to suffer because of what he just did to them. Now, make no mistake about it. This is a betrayal. I think you all know that, but this is indeed a betrayal, despite what he says. And even Donald Trump took to Truth Social to congratulate him on said betrayal and said that he had courage and did the right thing. But Chuck Schumer is not alone, because 9 other Democrats also voted for cloture, which paved the way for that disastrous continuing resolution, including Cortez Masto, Gillibrand, Durbin, Hassan, King, Fetterman, Peters, Schatz, and Shaheen. And I take it that none of these cowards plan to hold town halls for a while, because they're also going to be too afraid to face their constituents, like those Republicans who don't want to hold town halls as well, because they know if they show up, they're going to get yelled at by constituents because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is representing the people who put them in office. In fact, we know that John Fetterman in particular is
Okay, so the rest of this is in the link. Nappy Child, hey girl, hey. I guess they knew all of this stuff. I guess I didn't give anything new because a lot of my stuff was actually from MSNBC today. I'm surprised, that's just how it fleshed out today. But I have, I always watch uh, a lot of differing media. So, hey, Nappy, I did say Grand Rising, Nappy Child. So this is the last. I swear this is the last thing I'm going to share with you guys today. Now we've heard about I broke news with you yesterday about late in the midnight hour, 45:47, went on Truth Social and did a whole exercise in why he is not going to honor the pardons that Joe Biden gave. And he said it's all behind this auto pen that he doesn't even know, because the pardons were signed with the auto pen, and he doesn't even know if they, whoever they are, told Biden, like Biden was not aware. And no, the people who signed it on auto pen, they're trying to say that they didn't tell Biden, and they didn't. He doesn't know anything about his own pardons. This is the story that they're trying to say, and they're acting like the auto pen is such a issue, when in fact, President 4547 used the auto pen to sign the pardons of those 1,500 insurrectionists that attacked the Capitol. And he pardoned them with an auto pen. So let's check this out. Let's check out, this press secretary. She's just a numbnut. Let's continue. If you haven't checked out this page, check him out. Adam Mokler. Very good. I always say that. Let's check it out.
Legally binding signature being signed onto documents. If the president was even consulted about his legally binding signature being signed onto documents. And so I think it's a question.
Okay, so you wonder, but you have no, they're putting out these assertions, I wonder, and he probably don't. And therefore, he has made a decision that these pardons not going to be honored, but they have no facts behind anything they say. Just because you have an upset voice, and I wonder if he even knew about his legally binding signature. Oh, girl, bye.
Question that everybody in this room should be looking into, because certainly that would.
Okay, so she's talking to reporters, and she's telling them that he may not have even known, and everybody in this room should be looking into him and looking into this question. Well, no, they shouldn't be looking into this question, because you are the press secretary. You are the one who's supposed to be giving the press the information. So why should the press have to run up behind your accusations that you showed no facts to? This is why you're supposed to be talking to the press, to give them the information. Let's continue.
Propose perhaps criminal or illegal behavior if staff members were signing.
Perhaps criminal or illegal behavior if staff was signing these pardons. I had to interrupt. Let me let you hear this dingbat all the way.
Everybody in this room should be looking into, because certainly that would propose perhaps criminal or illegal behavior if staff members were signing the president of the United States autograph.
Biden gave multiple interviews before he issued the pardons, giving his rationale, saying that he might be doing.
So they wonder if Biden knew about these pardons. And when he was specifically asked about these pardons, he has spoken about these pardons, but they still acting as if you've never heard Biden out of his own mouth consider these pardons. Let's continue.
In this because he's worried about what Trump will do during his term. The idea that this was signed behind Biden's back is complete BS. Watch Caroline Levitt get fact-checked on this very issue.
That his consent is on the record talking about issuing preemptive pardons to these people.
Yeah.
But was he aware of his signature being used on every single pardon? That's a question you should ask the Biden.
Is there
White
any
House.
evidence on that he wasn't aware of it?
You're a reporter. You should find out, Sean.
Caroline Levitt is so slippery. The burden of proof.
She said that is there any evidence that they were signing without his knowledge? And she tells her it's her job to find out. No, you are the one who is out here making these assertions. So why is it the press job to find out? Well, you're the reporter. You should find out. No, you're the press secretary telling us why these pardons were. You trying to say that these pardons would not be honored. So let's continue.
Falls on the person making the claim. If you're making an extraordinary claim, you need to have the proof. The onus falls on you to present the evidence. You can't flip it back around on Caitlin Collins. And, Caitlin Collins makes a great point. She says Biden is on the record saying that he was going to do these pardons and on the record after saying that he just did them. The idea that Biden had no clue or that this was done behind Biden's back is preposterous. And keep in mind, the Trump White House uses auto pens as well. The DOJ has said multiple times that auto pens carry full legal weight. So Caitlin Collins just kind of rolled Caroline Levitt. Watch this clip of Caroline trying to weave her way around a question regarding Putin and Russia. And, I feel like it's a requirement to be, if you want to be a press secretary, to be really good with words, really quick on your feet, and kind of able to slip out of situations when someone's trying to catch you in a gotcha. But Caroline Levitt takes that sliminess to a new level. She's like a borderline propagandist. I've never seen a press secretary this shameless.
Go ahead. Thanks, Caroline. I have two questions. First, will President Trump put sanctions on Russia if the talks on Tuesday don't go as hoped? And secondly, have any illegal immigrants self-deported through Sigiki home yet?
To your first question, it's something the president has floated, and certainly he's willing to do if necessary. I don't have anything to read out, and I would never get ahead of the president on such a serious decision.
It just feels like Trump has not used any of the leverage the U.S. has against Russia. In fact, Trump has only lost both the U.S. and Ukraine leverage by, number one, stopping intel sharing with Ukraine. Number two, stopping the gathering of data against Russia. Also, Trump has eased some sanctions on Russia. He's actually only openly floated the idea of lifting sanctions on Russia. It feels like Russia just gets rewarded for coming to the table. Meanwhile, Ukraine gets beaten down for being good faith. Here is Caroline Levitt claiming that now the French people should be grateful for the U.S. and that the Statue of Liberty is ours to keep.
Something different. There is now a member of the European Parliament from France who does not think the U.S. represents the values of the Statue of Liberty anymore. They want the Statue of Liberty back. So is President Trump going to send the Statue of Liberty back to France?
Absolutely not. And my advice to that unnamed low-level French politician would be to remind them that it's only because of the United States of America that the French are not speaking German right now. So they should be very grateful.
Oh my God. How come you didn't hit the link and tell me that? Oh my God. I wasn't looking at the screen. I was looking straight up in the air. And I said, okay. Vladimir Putin said Vladimir Putin is not giving up anything. Vladimir Putin said that he's mulling over the ceasefire agreement that Zelensky has already said that he is willing to take up. So they asked 4547 on his plane, well, what is Putin giving up? And he said that well, they're trying to separate things, and we'll get a response from them soon. And I hope Putin takes up the ceasefire. And I know that Russia is probably going to take the power grid. And I'm like, what are they trying to create? Another Israeli-Palestinian situation? Because Russia was the one who invaded Ukraine. So how is Russia going to be able to get the power grid? I said a lot. And I also said that Zelensky had over a week ago said that he is willing to do the ceasefire. But they interviewed Putin, and he was like, oh, I have to think about it, and I'll talk to 4547 on tomorrow, which is today. And there's a lot of things I'm not clear on. And in other words, he has made no concessions about anything. And nobody can tell you any concessions that Putin is doing other than deciding not to take the whole country, as opposed to taking what he wants of the country. So that's all I was saying. And I will drop my receipts tomorrow. These are interviews that I heard them talk about. Now, I figured that too, Jill. Okay, so Nappy Child asked, did I hear about them taking Secret Service protections from Hunter Biden and Joe Biden's daughter? I heard someone, this is what I can tell you. I heard someone ask the question, would he be taking their Secret Service away from them? And it was at that point, he doesn't decide to do a lot of things until it's posed to him as a question. So I was wondering from Nappy Child, had he actually taken away his Secret Service protection, Hunter Biden's and his daughter's Secret Service protection? I heard the question asked, and he said, yeah, you know what? I probably will do that. You know what? I probably will do that. Okay, so I apologize. Spoken word, you're saying, yes, he has taken it away. Let me Google it. Thank you, Spoken word. I apologize for you guys for being on mute so long. I hate that. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, so it says that he is. I prefer not to play any Fox stuff. Okay, so let me share this with you. Thank you. I thank you for bringing that up. I had. It was posed to him as a question if that's what he was doing. And people are, let me see. I'll share this link. Thank you, Nappy Child, for bringing that up. He is a small man. Thank you. Let me share this with you. Okay, here we go. Now this is saying Donald Trump revokes ridiculous Secret Service detail. Why is the secret? I don't want to hear. I don't know who Sky News. It's Sky News Australia. Okay, let's go to NBC. Okay, we'll go to this. Let me make sure that's sharing properly. Okay, we'll listen to this. Okay, hold on. Where's the volume?
That had digitized the contents of his infamous laptop. So Hunter Biden.
President Trump has ordered the Secret Service to end its protection for former President Biden's children, Hunter and Ashley Biden.
This all comes after Hunter Biden. There was a ruling last week that a judge allowed him to drop a lawsuit against a former White House aide that had digitized the contents of his infamous laptop. So Hunter Biden was making the argument in court that he didn't have the funds to continue with that lawsuit, although certainly now President Trump pointing out that he is vacationing in South Africa and calling it, quote, ridiculous that he has up to 18 Secret Service member is in his detail.
President Trump has ordered the Secret Service to end its protection.
Okay. So, there's that. Let's just, now, that's a lot. That's a lot. If the children of presidents are allowed to have Secret Service detail, how can he? I don't know. I don't think that they were guarding. I don't think that they were guarding him because he demanded it or anything like that. So I think that it's a normal thing. I know what is it? Sasha and Malia have Secret Service, but they are young women. I remember the Bush daughters, they had it. I don't know if there's a point when they can request that they no longer need it. I don't know how it works. I'm going to check that out and I'll get back to you guys tomorrow. And also, another thing that I want you guys to check out that in accordance with living up to the administration DEI initiatives, they have dropped a lawsuit. The Justice Department has dropped a lawsuit that a community of Black people have filed against a petroleum company that is emitting a lot of their waste in where they built the petroleum. Well, the petroleum company was there. I think they said that somebody from China bought it, but there has been a lawsuit filed last year about the waste or the leakage of the chemicals from this chemical plant. So in ensuring that the DEI initiative is not giving any type of reverence to people who are Black, the Justice Department said that they are dropping this lawsuit. The problems that they're saying that they're having from this petroleum company is a increase in cancers. The same thing that they was prodding their prop up that little boy, and the same thing that 4547 said as they were propping up this little boy in that address that he did to Congress, that the problem is that so many companies are built in Black areas that emit these cancers. So the EPA is, I think we need to actually hear this. I do think I heard this late last night. Let me see. Okay, let me find it. Okay. hold on one second. I think that after they use that young man for basically a prop. Let me. Here it is, right here. Let's be clear. We do remember him using that young black child as a prop. And the EPA, you heard when I played that clip from Russell Voigt saying that they want public workers to be terrified, and they're gonna want to make them hate going to work. Therefore, people like the EPA can do their jobs without their interference. So the EPA is very happy about this situation as well. Okay. The name of this video is Trump DOJ's drop lawsuit against chemical company poisoning majority black community. It's from Jesse Dolomore as well. Jesse Dolomore be on top of black issues. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. You remember that? I just played it yesterday too. If you don't remember it, I played that yesterday. So let me share this story with you. I just remembered it. Okay, here it is. I'm going to let this play, and I thank you all for being here, and I'm going to let this play all the way out because it is quite a detailed story. And he also recommends that you visit another young man who is talking, what is it? Urban development. He go check out this guy. He recommends that you watch in Nashville talk about how they do all of these things in black communities under the guise of urban development. Check that out as well. Okay, so I'm going to thank all of you guys for being here. I want to thank Beans and Cornbread for coming up. I appreciate yes, Cancer Alley in, you know about, yes, that's exact. I'd never heard about it. I was in my bed watching it on YouTube. Yes, Cancer Alley in Louisiana. I had never heard about that. Okay. Nappy Child, thank you. I had never heard about that. And I'm going to play this and end the show. I thank you all for coming. If you learned something new, feel free to hit the goals. I don't think I've been over here on here for 3 hours, but I probably have. But if you can't hit the goal, cash out, just hit the like button. I appreciate all my members. Bernice, I definitely appreciate you. Very Carrie, I definitely appreciate everyone who came out. And please share this video out. Thank you guys for coming. I'm almost at 3 hours. I can't. So let me share this with you. Here we go.
I'm going to read this headline to you, and then I'm going to get into what I'm going to talk about today. And that is about, well, one, I know I talk a lot about white supremacy in the United States, but it's because if you're an American, and if that's special to you, to many people it is, then we're all Americans. A black American has no less worth than a white American because we're all Americans. We have equal protection under the law. We should all be treated equally. Justice, the Lady Justice in the statues and in the photos has a blindfold for a reason, because she's a dispassionate administrator of justice. She doesn't look at whether you're rich or you're poor, or the tint of your skin, your ethnicity, your religion. The law applies. Unfortunately, in America, that's not been the case. Here's the headline. I know I said I'd read the headline and then I started into it. This is from the Associated Press. Justice Department says ending Louisiana petrochemical case helps dismantle radical diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. the way that our country has been set up, from the where people can get house loans with redlining to the way cities are zoned, has been systematically designed to either harm Black folks and others, indigenous people and Hispanic people, but primarily Black folks. It's either designed specifically to harm them or just ensure that if we're going to have, look, we got to have petrochemical plants, so where should we put them? Well, we don't put them in white neighborhoods. We put them where Black people live. We zone things such that if anybody's going to be harmed, it's going to be Black people. It's just a fact. In fact, I'm going to play about a minute and a half of a video I've talked about months and months and months ago, maybe over a year ago now, from Garrison Hayes, someone who's become a friend, someone who is brilliant and does amazing content that if you're not subscribed to his channel, you're cheating yourself on content that is just top notch. But he did a video about urban renewal, and this plays right into this because it's the systematic placing at a disadvantage an entire group of Americans based solely on the fact that they have a different level of melanin in their skin, that they're darker hued than me. No different other than that, right? But he talks about urban renewal, and it plays into this because I'll just let him. Here's a minute and a half of a video. I'll link to it below. Go watch this whole video because it plays a role in what I'm getting ready to talk about. Here's this from Garrison Hayes.
Best and worst cooking oils. Number 2, coconut oil. Coconut oil has a very high smoke.
Hold on.
So,
I apologize.
yes, you can absolutely use it. Unfortunately, coconut oil has...
Okay. I apologize. I was away from the computer. Here we go.
Jefferson Street in Nashville, Tennessee. It sits in the most incarcerated zip code in the United States of America, zip code 37208.
This is a startling statistic. A North Nashville neighborhood is said to have the highest incarceration rate in the entire country.
Developing now in North Nashville community is on edge after a deadly shooting.
At one point, 1 in every 7 adults living in this zip code would be incarcerated during their 30s. But it wasn't always this way. Jefferson Street is special. It was the place to be in Nashville. It was home to world-famous jazz clubs and civil rights think tanks. Folks like Jimi Hendrix and Little Richard, Diane Nash and John Lewis. Some of the biggest and most influential figures in American culture and history got their start right here. In fact, the oldest Black-owned bank in America is on this street. This place was booming until something horrible happened. This highway. That's Highway 40, and it was built on top of this thriving community in the 1950s and 60s. The construction of this highway completely disrupted this community. It displaced thousands of residents, and it upended hundreds of businesses. This process was what was known as urban renewal, and it was very racist.
It's something called urban renewal, which means moving the Negroes out. It means Negro removal. That is what it means.
Urban renewal happened in cities all across the country. So in this video, I want to dig into the racist patterns of urban renewal. And perhaps more importantly, I want to understand how this thing that happened way back in the past is still affecting us today.
And it's not just urban renewal. Go watch that whole video. It'll blow your mind because it's not one isolated incident. This is a systematic assault on Black Americans. And again, you don't get to have it all the ways. Americans are Americans. If you believe that citizenship and it's special to be American, then it's special for all of us. Because this isn't a white country. This isn't a Christian country. This is the United States of America. It's through diversity and equity and inclusion. It's through this that we are a stronger, more fulfilled nation, a better nation. And it's through this systematic assault on Black people, whether it be through urban renewal or the way we zone our communities and where we allow these kinds of poison plants to go, poisoning Americans, that it happens. Again, here's the headline from the Associated Press. Justice Department says ending Louisiana petrochemical case helps dismantle radical DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. The Justice Department on Friday celebrated its decision to drop a federal lawsuit against a Louisiana petrochemical plant accused of worsening cancer risks for residents in a majority Black community, saying the dismissal showed that officials are delivering on President Trump's promise to dismantle radical diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and restore integrity to federal enforcement efforts. The dismissal Wednesday of the 2-year-old case underscored the Trump administration's commitment to eliminate ideological overreach and restore impartial enforcement of federal laws, Justice said in a statement. At the same time, the Environmental Protection Agency withdrew its formal referral of the case to the Justice Department. The agency said that the action aligns with the EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin's pledge to end the use of environmental justice as an enforcement tool that Zeldin said was too often used to advance liberal ideological priorities. to ensure that Americans aren't being sickened, aren't being killed, aren't being given cancer by poison emitting from petrochemical plants. That's environmental justice, and it's too often used to liberal ideological priorities. Dismissal of the case unraveled one of former President Joe Biden's highest profile targets for an environmental justice effort aimed at improving conditions in places disproportionately harmed by decades of industrial pollution. The lawsuit was filed in U.S. District Court in the Eastern District of Louisiana and was formally withdrawn Wednesday. The action is one of a series the Trump administration has taken as it moves quickly to reverse the environmental justice focus of Biden's administration, placing roughly 170 environmental justice focused staffers on administrative leave, and dropping this case relieves pressure on a company that has spent years fighting federal lawsuits and investigation over its impact on public health. Denka, based in Japan, bought the former DuPont plant in Laplace, Louisiana, a decade ago. It's located near an elementary school in a community about 30 miles outside of New Orleans. And then here is just highlighting what I've been talking about. Dismissal of the case reflects the Justice Department's renewed commitment to enforce environmental laws as Congress intended, consistently, fairly, and without regard to race, said Acting Assistant Attorney General Adam Gustafson, who oversees the department.
Okay, so you have to just drop the lawsuit. Does the regard to race, if you only are they want to say that they are, if they want to say that they are only regarding that race, that these people are black people, are these people any less getting cancer from the environmental impact that this chemical plant is having in their neighborhoods? So it seems like it's all about race for them, but they're not talking. And when they held up that guy, that little kid who had cancer, this is one of the things that came out of 45-47's mouth, is that I said that all right, that they put these type of places where black people live. But the EPA is real cool about it.
Environmental and Natural Resources Division. Here's the deal with that, is if this company is forced to redo how they emit their poisons into the air, it's not just going to impact only black people. That's not how pollution works. What you do is you say, what you're doing is disproportionately hurting black Americans, stop doing it, and then the air is cleaned for everyone. But that's not good enough for the Republican Party. That's not good enough for Donald Trump. That's not good enough for white supremacists everywhere. They are willing to poison themselves as long as it also hurts black people. Make an argument otherwise, because that's what this is. This is another form of urban renewal. It is harming black folks. That's the intent. That's why they pulled this lawsuit. One is because the Republican Party works in service to billionaires and major, massive corporations. So they don't want to get on their bad side. That's where the money flows from. And in the meanwhile, it's just a little bonus for the Republicans to harm, and in this case, kill black people. Like in that Garrison Hayes video where James Baldwin was quoted as talking about this is for the purpose of removing black people. That's what it is. That's the way they look at it. What do you think? I invite you to this conversation. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054.
Have a good day, everyone. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.